Hi friends, how are you all? So today we are going to continue our chapter of reproduction in class 10th biology. So here we go. Today we are going to discuss the topic of sexual reproduction. It is given in NCERT like this. This whole passage I have summarized here. So let's see what is given in this passage. So, as we know that what is sexual reproduction, in which two parents of opposite sex are involved in the formation of the new offspring. We are known to this very well. So now, why sexual mode of reproduction is preferred in higher organisms? What is the reason that why only sexual mode of reproduction? Reason is that it allows variations. Now what are these variations? These variations are changes in human beings, changes in organisms which are having more complex body organization than the lower organism. Now what are these variations? These are changes. Now what these changes do? These permits the survival of species, like there is some environmental change after some years. So if the person is able to survive in that environment, that will continue its generation. The one which is not, it will not, and it will die. So male and female fuse to form the new offspring. This is having the variations which are not exactly similar to male and not to female, but having the hybrid characters of both. So now usually we see that motile gamete is our male gamete and non-motile gamete is our female gamete. This was all about this passage given here. So now we have completed this passage. So we will study about sexual mode of reproduction in flowering plants. So now let's see which flower is this. This is a hibiscus flower, and we should know that flower is the that part of the plant in which male and female sex organs are present, where the fusion takes place and everything sexual reproduction basically takes place in flower, in an angiospermic plant. So now here you can see this is our female reproductive part of the flower. This is stigma, style and ovary, and this is our male reproductive part of the flower, which is filament, and this is our anther. So now we are going to study this in detail. I have made all the diagrams here. So this is the diagram of ovary. Here you can see I have drawn it here. So now I will explain this diagram to you in detail, very detail. So here you can see this is ovule. Ovule is the part of ovary. Ovule is also called as megasporangium. This you will study in detail in higher classes. So here we go. This is our ovule. Some protective coverings are present outside the ovule. These are called as integuments. Here I have written integuments. There is some pore kind of structure. This, like here integuments are not present. These are our green colored integuments. Here integuments are absent. So this is called micropyle, and opposite to micropyle this end is called chalazal end. So now inside this is a embryo sac. Here you can see embryo sac has 8 nuclei and 7 cells. Central cell has 2 nucleus, and these 2 nucleus are called as polar nuclei, and this is called as central cell as it is located at center. And at the chalazal end, three cells are present which are called as antipodal cells, and these are haploid cells, that is N. This is 2N because it has 2 nucleus, and this is our egg. Here I have written, and these two are synergid cells. These all are haploid cells, and this is our hilum. This is a stalk called as funicle, which is attached to micropyle through the hilum. So now we can easily understand the sexual reproduction in flowers by these 8 to 9 lines. So let me explain to you. One megaspore undergo mitosis and forms 8 nuclei. There is one megaspore which undergo mitosis form 2, then these two forms another, and so continues and form 8 nuclei like this. Now fertilization. 8 nuclei are formed, then cells are formed like this. You can see this, but 2 nuclei are located at the center. They do not separate and are enclosed in a single cell. So these are two polar nuclei in a single cell, and this has ploidy diploid, and this is our central cell. So now here fertilization. Pollen grains are carried by the winds to the stigma of the pistil. This is called as pollination. We know that transfer of pollen grains to the stigma of the flower is called as our pollination. Now, pollen grains germinate on the stigma and resulting pollen tube grows through the tissue of stigma and reach the ovule. Here you can see these are our pollen grains, and this is a growing pollen tube through the style to the ovule. Here you can see this is growing pollen tube through the style into the ovule. Now, next point, pollen grain germinate on the stigma and resulting pollen tube grows through the tissues of stigma and reaches the ovule. Next point is pollen tube enter the embryo sac where two male gametes are discharged. Now you can see, as I have earlier told you, that this is our embryo sac. Two pollen grains enter this female gametophyte. Now one of the male gametes fuses with egg cell to form zygote. Now here you can see these were our two male gametes. One of the male gamete will fuse with this egg cell. Here I have drawn. This is our fusion of sperm with egg, that is syngamy. And the other male gamete fuses with the diploid secondary nucleus to produce the triploid primary endosperm nucleus, that is triple fusion. Let me explain you here. Here you can see that this were our two polar nuclei. Now the male gamete fuses with this forms the triploid, ploidy 3n. So this is called as our triple fusion. Now as both the events are taking place in a single embryo sac, two fertilizations are taking place. One is triple fusion and second is this syngamy. Now these two are taking place, so these two are combinedly called as double fertilization. I hope you understood this. This is our triple fusion. As two polar nuclei were already present, one male gamete arises, so 3n, this is triple fusion. And second is this syngamy, fusion of male gamete with egg, this is syngamy. These both events are taking place in a embryo sac, so this is called as our double fertilization, as two fertilizations are taking place. So this is our double fertilization. Now I have summarized some points here. Integuments are the tough layers that protect ovules inside. I have already told you that integuments are the protective covering of the ovule. These are integuments, protective covering of ovule. Next point is primary endosperm nucleus changes to endosperm, and endosperm provides nourishment to developing embryo. In higher classes, in I think so 12th class, you will study that embryo is developed after the development of some of the endosperm. Why? Because endosperm provides nourishment to developing embryo. So now what happens after fertilization? Here fertilization has taken place. Now what will happen to this? Now after fertilization, ovule will change into seed and ovary will change into fruit. Zygote changes into embryo and integuments form the seed coat. We have seen our seed, and the seed coat is formed by integuments. Sepals, petals and stamens fall off. So this was whole about the reproduction in flowering plants. I hope you understood this. I have drawn very easy diagram so that you can understand it properly. I hope you understand it. Thank you so much. We will cover next portion of the chapter in human reproduction in next video. Thank you so much for watching.